Very good morning. Welcome to another interesting edition of the program Global Morning Weekend Edition. My name is Ubong Usora, and in the studio, as usual, I have my co-host and co-anchor in the program, Sadia Yakubu. She's here, live, well, and kicking. How are you, Sadia?
I'm fine, Ubong Usora. First of all, let me start by saying good morning to all our viewers around the world. My name is Sadia Yakubu and Eid Mubarak Ubong Usoro.
Yeah, Baraka de Sal.
Baraka de Salah.
I did try.
You've tried. So how is Eid celebration out there? Have you checked on your neighbor? What's going on? Stay blue and stay connected. We'll give you updates.
All right, we'll give you a lot of updates, right? I know our reporters were on the field yesterday when I was coming to work. I did some videos, right? So we'll talk about it. For me, and earlier today, I also saw videos of the president who was after the Eid prayers. He addressed journalists in Lagos, and he spoke about Nigeria, understanding love and peace. In fact, if you look at this moment, some Christians are still fasting, so the fasting period coincides.
Yeah.
All right. So what we need to move our country is love. We do not need to allow religion to be a dividing factor. In as much as you want to convert people, what the primary focus should be on yourself, right? If you understand that people have the choices to make, you could share the message of whatever you believe with people, allow them to consciously make the choice. I think that would be better because we need love. Christians should be able to love Muslims should be able to love Christians.
Most definitely.
We should live together, keep living together because we are one great country of very beautiful people. And to all my Muslim friends, Sadia, I could say Mukhtar, and every other, but Mukhtar is my friend, though he's a sabotage.
Mukhtar, if you're watching, if you heard Ubong Usoro say that
I didn't say it. I said this, but I did not shout it.
You didn't call the other name. You still called
I just called it that. So, happy Salah celebrations. Yeah.
So let's quickly go on a short break and come back. When we come back, we'll continue with the newspaper review. Don't go nowhere. Stay blessed. Stay connected.
All right, so welcome back to the program. Now, this is where we get to look at the dailies. I love looking at the dailies every day. It gives you information and some level of entertainment here and there, right? So, Sadia, which newspaper are we starting with this
one? All right, we're starting with Weekend Trust. All
right, so lead us through the paper.
Attacks, threats surge ahead of 2027. Yeah. From there, you see ballot books, annual ballot rules, and on the floor.
All right, so starting from the Trust newspaper, weekend edition, and like Sadia mentioned, there's a big picture story there where you see that's a ballot box being scattered, and it says attacks and threats surge ahead of 2027. Oh. Other story says Salah Emir Sanusi leads Eid prayers low-key Turban in Kano. Kano still has two emirs. It's
which is the authentic emir?
I don't know. I will not want to go into that discussion.
No. I don't want us to start it at all.
So Sanusi led the prayers in Kano. It's on page 14 of the Trust newspaper, weekend edition.
All right. Police arrest suspect over assaults during Delta Festival. I would like to speak about this Delta Festival, Ozoro.
Festival.
Yes, that's a horrible thing. What kind of festival is that?
It's people's festival.
No. That can't be a festival. It can happen to any of them sisters, like any of their family members, female. So how would they feel? What kind of tradition is that? Like, how would you call it? A rape festival, Ubangusoro, that's the name of the festival, rape festival. And we are here saying, say no to rape, say no to rape. And one community is there celebrating a festival saying rape festival.
I think that when you look at the Nigerian constitution, what supersedes our thoughts, our belief, our tradition is that constitution.
Yeah.
And the constitution gives provision for the rights of association, the right to life, and the right to consent.
I don't have problem with that.
So if there's any festival, if there's any tradition if there's any religion that goes against the tenets of our constitution, that should be called to order.
Thank God it's because of social media that we had to see this one. It has been happening. It has been happening. Even from the footage, like the video, you would see where a couple of guys were trying to even save the lady. They pulled her down from the bike. Like, do you understand? They pulled her down from the bike. We had many guys around trying to rape one lady. That's too bad.
That's rape in any facet should not be encouraged.
No, it shouldn't be encouraged.
It should not be. We do not encourage that. And if there's any iota of rape in colored, whether in tradition, in religion, in whatsoever, it should be dealt with. So
yeah, definitely. And
I'm totally against that.
I love the response of the state government. All right, I had a report that said the state government have come out to make a statement saying those who took part of that event should get them and bring them to book, like
prosecute
them. And I want to really, really commend the Delta State governor for that very wonderful move there. At least it will curb the
indiscipline and conduct. Right.
That's not a good one.
All right. Let's take on the stories now. 2027, who succeeds Governor Zulum? And there's a picture story there showing some faces that may likely succeed the Borno State Governor, Babangana Zulum.
All right, and last story from me are battles against stereotypes, cultural beliefs, male nurses. That's on page 12 of Weekend Daily.
All right, on page 8, it says, inside Nigeria's gold mines turned sanctuaries of criminals. But I'd like to just say a few things about the stereotypes and cultural beliefs around male nurses, right?
Yeah.
The cultural mindset we have is that if it's a nurse, it has to be a woman. If it's a doctor, medical doctor now, MD, it has to be a man. So we've seen that stereotype, and I've read a couple of male nurses complaining how they are stereotyped. You just walk in, someone calls them a doctor without even looking at to see their ID, and while they're trying to, a lot of, so our cultural alienation have pushed the profession to, this is a female's profession. Yeah. So if you see a man in a profession, what are you doing here? You should be a doctor. Are you not seeing your mates are doctors and all of that? People have the choice to choose. A man can choose to be a nurse. Mm-hmm. A woman can choose to be a doctor. You don't force people to pick profession. No. So I think we should try to outgrow this, some of these cultural beliefs that may not occur with us. But let's go to another newspaper, Sadia.
That's The Guardian.
All right, The Guardian, walk us through.
So the first, that is the lead story, say Tinubu rallies Nigerians for peace, improved security. That's on page 2. Says security is collective responsibility. UK visit sends message of tolerance among faith. Sustainable development can't be achieved without peace. Shetima warns.
All right, that's the lead story there. Other story said the Ijaw quest for Nigeria's fourth pillar. Spotlight is on pages 10 and 11 of the Guardian newspaper.
All right, Catholic bishops felicitate Muslim faith for sacrificial living. That's on page 3.
Before Tinubu leaves Northern elites behind, it's on the back page of the Guardian today.
All right, PDP will survive current crisis, says a party chairman, and that's on page 35.
2027, Olubadan cautions politicians against exploiting religion for elections.
All right, tax reforms will favor women, youth, federal government assures. That's on page 35.
Allegations of bank collusion emerge in $43.5 million dividend dispute involving Oriental Energy. It's on page 36 of the newspaper.
So I think that's all from me.
All right, so and that's all that we can take this morning. I'll just say this one: 2027 good governance matters more than age or religion. It's on page 26 of the newspaper, and it's from Kanu Uchi.
All right, so next newspaper is This Day.
All right, so we'll go to the Newsday newspaper, the next paper we're taking. So there was a lead story.
Iran would triggers petrol demand surge for Dangote refinery across Africa.
All right, so I'd just like to say a few things here, like I highlighted yesterday when I came on Ramsey's show. You know, in every war, there are people that profit from the war.
Yeah.
There are people that sell ammunitions, they sell arms, small glass. There are people that will take over people's properties because of war. Some persons will never return. That's the sad thing about war. If there's a war now, the number of persons that were here cannot be the number of persons that will return. So some persons who hitherto would never have thought of having such properties can now take possession of people's property, steal people's property. When there is war, we could see people make merchandise. And so war is an economy, and the economy of war. So now one of the persons, because 20% of the world oil energy needs passes through the Strait of Hormuz, is more like, and Iran has effectively disrupted the shipping movement. There's a lot of panic in the oil markets. People are reaching out to other countries to see how they can buy. And so thank God for Dangote refinery now, who can produce 65 million barrels per day. The Nigerian energy need is between 50 to 60, so he has about 5 million barrels, and that's the phase of the refinery. Remember that there's another phase of the refinery that when it is completed, it will up the production to about 120 million barrels per day. But for now, he's doing 65, which is great, which is amazing. So Dangote refinery now will now have more persons in Africa, more countries in Africa that were buying oil from Cyprus, from other countries in Europe, Malta, the rest of them. They will now want to buy from Africa because it's cheaper, you know, and it's more assurable that you get it. So what Dangote will now face will be a crisis of supply, because there's a lot of demand, and so you have a crisis of supply. And basic economics, we know that when there's a lot of demand, prices will go up because there's a lot of competition. If you go to a park and there are only 5 passengers, right, you could say 500 naira. But if you have 100 passengers and the carrying capacity of your car is just 5, you can decide to say 1,000, and those that have will pay because they really need to go on that journey. So that's what is happening to Dangote River. And I think it's good, and also to the Nigerian government, because like I mentioned yesterday, our budget was pegged at $67 to a barrel. That was our budget, and we're looking at the budget deficits that we're going to fix by borrowing of over 22 trillion naira. So if this war continues, now we are selling oil at about 101, 102 per barrel. So if this war continues, which is not what we pray for, but I'm just saying the people that could make gains, the Nigerian government is making almost 100% of of its budget benchmark. So for what we budgeted 60, we are now making 120. So the deficit is feeding up itself. So we may not need to borrow as much as we would have needed to borrow. So those are some of the things, and it's good for Dangote refinery.
All right, so away from that story, Eid al-Fitr, Tinubu, Sultan, Khan, governors preach peace, tolerance, patience, not nation building.
Yeah, I think this is what we need in the country at this time, and we just can't do without peace in our country. On the right, there says Shetima reassures of government's resolve to tackle insecurity and other challenges. IGP orders nationwide deployment of tactical assets to ensure peaceful celebrations.
Diplomats, analysts count gains of President's UK visit.
Yeah, Akinyemi orders health trip help on implementation of deals and agreements. There's a picture story here I can see the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu. I can see a former Speaker of the House of Representatives and Chief of Staff to the President, Afemi Badamiamila. I can see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I can see the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Obafemi Hamzat, and we are also former Governor of Lagos State, Babaj Fashola is in the picture. Is the one wearing brown. That's Raji Fashola. And there's my man Hakim Moriokola, Private Secretary to the President, who some persons are saying looks like he's going to be the next Lagos State Governor, but we don't know for now. We allow it. But he's popularly called HMK. He's also in the picture. So the entourage that followed Mr. President to the Eid ground in Lagos for prayers. National Security Advisor, he spent his Eid in Lagos.
All right, so that's a very good one for our president, because he doesn't joke with going to Lagos at all. Come what may, he's always there. Just like our late former president.
Yeah, Buhari.
In Katsina or Kaduna.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. Instead of going outside the country to relax.
Well, he goes outside. Both of them goes outside the country.
If they are going, they say official, or they say, but this one, Eid, he's always home.
Yes,
that you can't take
Christmas holiday, he was home.
Yes, he was in Lagos.
Yes,
so apart from these festivity visits,
he has spent all his life in Lagos. He was a former governor in Lagos. He was a senator in Lagos. He's done all the last how many years. So you can imagine, right? For somebody who's done so much, right? Yeah. It takes some time. Sometimes I just stay and I remember Akwa Ibom, right?
I feel like going back. I think you need to go on break, Ubon. I think you need to go to Akwa Ibom and then feel home small.
My dear,
relax, and then you come back to Abuja.
There's this girl that works with us, Nafisa, the one I call Aisha.
The one you named Aisha.
Nafisa was telling me how she likes going to Suleja and all of that. She said she can, even sometimes she will come to work. In her mind, she will stay in Abuja. But before she finishes, she has seen herself on the road going to Suleja. I said, did you see yourself on the road, or you put yourself on the road? So there's this feeling when you have a home that is welcoming.
Yeah. And
Lagos is very welcoming to Mr. President. He has never lost an election in Lagos. The only election he lost in Lagos was the presidential election. And even at that, he still won the governorship election. He won the governor. His candidate, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, won the election. Yeah. Right. So he loves being around Lagos. I think if he had his way, he would want to be staying.
Lagos, the center,
he would love to operate from Lagos.
All right, let's move to our next newspaper, which is Saturday Punch. And our lead story, horror. So when we spoke about earlier, women stripped, sexually molested during Delta Festival. I think, thank God it's even coming out now, so that the federal government, state government, I think the attention of the Ministry for Women Affairs and then state Women Affairs.
Not Ministry of Women. That's the ministry I wanted Mukhtar to go to.
Why do you want to push Mukhtar to
But
Ministry of Women Affairs?
let's take on the right that victims hospitalized, federal government orders probe, suspects arrested, Nigerians demand prosecution. I have 200 videos, photos of sexual assault.
Imagine.
Oh, that is horrible.
That is horrible. I said they saved one girl, one lady, but I don't know of this one. Why that? But that one, the guy was even fighting.
There is no woman that should be sexually molested. No,
You're calling it a festival.
No, in whatever guise, whether as festival, whether as punishment, because I know some persons, even some women, we've heard stories of some women who organize for people to molest other women as punishment. No,
we've heard about, I think, was it this year or last year, one lady, because of her male friend, she had to gang up, invite other female friends of hers to molest a lady.
So we have those kind of persons. So, but we are saying that there is no excuse for molestation.
No excuse.
There is no excuse for rape. There is no excuse for sexual destruction, because you are destroying the person, whether as a husband, whether as a wife, whether as a man or a woman. You should not molest people. Consent is needed. If you need you make advances at people, I don't know why you're laughing, but if you make advances at people, it's rest on them to either say yes or no. I even have to say this: there are some persons that you've told somebody, let's have a relation, and the person say no. You don't want to rest. Some you think that by staying with the person, by continuing that statement for years, that finally somebody have said no. Respect yourself now and allow the person to be.
So if I say no to you now,
I'll allow you to be now.
All right, let's go back to
take our newspaper.
But then it's a good thing that I think
the government.
the government are now saying everything, and I wish, I pray, I hope they pick it up from here. This matter, this issue shouldn't just be swept under the carpet.
Absolutely
or rug.
not at all. Women Affairs Ministry, please don't allow this. Department of Sexual Violence, don't allow this. Mukhtar, don't allow this.
This is how you are emphasizing. You are calling Mukhtar.
Because Mukhtar is very passionate about issues like this. When I see passion, I know. But Sadia, let's finish this paper.
All right. Inside Nigerian market, where vendors mix pepper with dyes for profit. I came across a video during Ramadan, a man grinding from that normal local grinding machine, and then at the same time pouring red color into the pepper coming out from the machine.
Jesus.
I was like, So that means if you have to if you have to use the grinding machine, you have to be there. Don't allow them to grind anything for you in your absence. Be there. Let them do it, and you see what they are grinding. And I think we had a new recent development that we want to ban the use of local
grinding machines.
So maybe you blending your stuff at home would be better.
Right.
But for those that can't afford blender, I think they'll still stick to this, but then be vigilant, health-wise.
Absolutely.
So why should you be grinding pepper and then mixing it with dye?
It's sad that people can go the extra mile just to make money. So sad. I left gospel music because it wasn't profitable. It's coming from a producer. This man that is called Ozedi Calls One Name. You know him. He's a very popular producer. He said he left gospel music because it wasn't profitable. That's subjective. It's your opinion. Some persons say it's profitable, and it's profitable for some persons. So it depends. You know, like you were saying this morning.
We made mention of this earlier. I said some people, you see that some kind of business or job suits them, they benefit very well from them. Some you would have to move from one to another. That's because you're not destined to be there. Right? So once you're destined to be somewhere, it will definitely work out for you. It will definitely be profitable for you.
Right.
Yeah. So I pray everything we touch, everything we do here is that our hands upon
Right.
favors us. So the next story, Pele, is it Pela or Pele? That's
Pela Palava.
I heard he went to Edo State. You know, Edo is one of the cities. You don't just go to like that without properly notifying the king that you want to come and visit them. So I heard Pela went there. And then the Oba of Benin became angry that who granted him the permission to come visit Edo State, like the kingdom. And then the guard, the queen, you get it?
I don't get it.
All right, let's move from here. Queen Iware hits back at Edo Palace chiefs.
Oh.
The chiefs, he sacked, I think, one or two of the chiefs, and then the queen as well. Yeah, so let me just say allegedly.
I've not followed. After now, I'll just go check out that.
Yeah, please do.
UK Nigeria pact fuels talks of Ekweremadu's return. Our former deputy senate president is still in UK cell. His audio continues. The wife returned earlier this year, but Ekweremadu, Nigeria has asked the UK to please allow him to come and serve his jail term in Nigeria.
Do you think you're all right? Let's see.
We know, but let's keep it to ourselves. Let's keep it. Army recovers 74 terrorist bodies. All right. There's also another story that we're following for you this morning. How 3 months in the same cell with Fela changed my life. British Nigerian author.
All right. So, from me, Sanusi Bayero. Conquest will hold separate Eid prayers.
Okay, we'll see what is happening there. That's in Kano.
That's in Kano.
Sanusi, that's Sanusi Bayero, who the other one,
Aminu Bayero.
Kwankwaso. It seems not to be in the same camp, the three of them.
Yeah, not. Anyways, that's story for another day.
All right. Okay, so that's the much you can take this morning on Punch newspaper Saturday edition. Let's go to our last newspaper for
Vanguard.
This morning. Right, so the Vanguard newspaper is the last newspaper we'll be taking this morning. The lead story says, our people are tired. Is that the lead story? No. Lead story is on page 10. It says, IDP camp residents to federal government. If you can't take us home, say it. Stop pretending. Vanguard visits Benue camp, captures human cost of Nigeria's crisis. I see children, then I realized all mine are dead. Terrorism victim. Stop sending words. Let's return home without being killed in our sleep. Another victim. You fail to protect us. Don't fail to take us home. We want our lives back. How to secure Benue and end IDP camps. Lawmaker is on page 12. That's the lead story. IDP camp resident, the federal government. If you can't take us home, just say it. Stop pretending.
All right, and a story from me. Delta Festival outrage. Isoko Nation, Ioveri, action aid to demand justice over sexual assault against the young women in Ozuru. Council chairman vows to fish out perpetrators, and that's on page 3 of Saturday Vanguard.
Why insecurity is creeping into Yoruba land, Gani Adams.
All right, kidnap kingpin Osisa Kanku promised me 50 million to save him, and that's on page 15.
How we were sexually exploited in Mali. 2 Nigerian teens shared their audio story on page 18. What
stood my father out as a legend. Sorry, that's on page 20. Buiwa Adetiba, 24.
Showere bemoans day judge told lawyer to kneel down in court.
Grief, pride as Onitsha set for author Mbanifo's burial, and that's on page 7.
So there's a picture story of Ugwegbe Ajelo, who's on page 5, and you can see the picture there. So just go to page 5 and know the story behind the picture. I think there's a story behind every picture.
Well, to me,
Pictures tell stories.
this picture to me doesn't tell any story, unless to you.
I don't know why you're focusing it to me.
I know what you're trying to say, but I won't see. You want me to say it?
Maybe there's a story
behind the
page
camera.
5.
Behind the camera, you and I will discuss this picture.
Alright guys, that's about you can take this morning on the newspaper segment of the show. We'll go for a break, and when we come back, we get to discuss. It's World Forestry Day today. What does a forest mean to us? Have you ever been to a forest, Sadia?
No, I won't lie. No.
But it's a very popular forest we hear about, Sambisa Forest.
So you want me to go to
No.
You go to Sambisa.
No.
I'll be here, but I'll come.
Alright, so let's go for this break. When we're back, we'll get to talk about the forest. Stay with us.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debates, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust our multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
At Witchtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction. Witchtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Witchtech Cables, quality cables, better than the best.
Our language, our vibrant culture and colorful tradition, our industrious and hospitable people. This is Nigeria, a nation that prides itself in abundant human and natural resources. From east to west, north to south, we sparkle, we shine, we have a common bond. Fellow Nigerians, let's do away with ethnic, religious and regional sentiments that divide us as a people. God has blessed us and empowered us to find strength in diversity. Let's make our faith and way of worship our source of unity as we build a nation that stays united. Nigeria, together today, together always. This is a public announcement brought to you by Global Television.
All right, so as the world marks the International Forest Day 2026, the Biodiversity Preservation Center has called for renewed commitments to forest conservation and sustainable environmental practices in the country. The International Forest Day is observed every 21st of March, highlighting the critical role that forests play in our life. Joining us today to help make sense of this discussion is the Executive Director of the Biodiversity Preservation Center and also a Professor of Wildlife Conservation and Forestry, Professor Edem Enyang, as we look at green economy, understanding the vital role of forest in our life. A very good morning to you, Professor.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Obong, and happy World Forestry Day 2026.
For joining us. Let's get to our discussion. A lot of persons tell us about the forest situation in Nigeria. Do we have a lot of forest? And when we talk about the forest, what does it refer to?
Well, the forest is what we have as the balance of nature as God created it. That is the intact forest ecosystem with trees and biodiversity living naturally as nature originally presented them. That's a forest with majority of trees growing naturally to their matured state with good canopy for all life forms to exist, and our water cycles running naturally with everything in a balance as nature designed it.
Does the forest play in our day-to-day life? Maybe somebody, those of us who are in Abuja or in Uyo, I say, what do I have to do with the forest? So how does those in urban centers or those who are disconnected to the daily realities of how vital the forest is, what role does the forest play in our lives?
Forests play very enormous and significant roles in our lives, everyday life. The forest is a safety net of nature given to mankind. That's why when you travel to some advanced country of the world, for instance, let me use the United States of America. in most part of the US, you will deliberate efforts to make everywhere green with forests, trees, and species. If you travel from Washington to Virginia, Washington to Maryland, you go as far as Maryland to Philadelphia, wherever you go, both sides of the road in the city centers of the US, you see forests everywhere. Houses and townships are built within forests, and everywhere is green, healthy, with oxygen and balancing nature at its very best standard. That's what the people of Abuja, the people of other cities in Nigeria are missing, because we lack our natural ecosystems as nature designed it. We destroy everything. We don't even have forest corridors. And this is what brings us to the conflict we have with wildlife. For instance, snakes coming into houses and biting people, and all sort of threats. You have seen what is happening in Nigeria in some states of the north central and middle belt of Nigeria. We are currently suffering from Lassa fever attacks. People are dying and getting infected, including health workers. Please, it is the destruction of the natural ecosystem, the forest systems, that is leading to all these kind of occurrences that is not helping us.
Cover in Africa and in Nigeria specifically, what is the amount of forests we have, and do we have different kinds of forests, and how is the forest, the ones we have in Africa, how is it particular to us, and how have we been destroying, or how have we been interacting with our forest? Interaction first. What has been the relationship between different communities and the forest covers in their areas?
Honestly speaking, that's a good question, Mr. Ubong. You see, recently we held an international conference on the 3 forest basins of the world. And the only forest basin that Africa has is the Congo Forest Basin. And this basin is more or less close to what God designed it, even though it is also being impacted negatively, but not as devastated as the forest elsewhere in Africa. Now, what we have in some countries of Africa, they've struggled, like the Cameroons, like the Central African Republic, like the Republic of Gabon, and so on. They've tried to, sustain their forest estate and make incremental efforts to protect what they have, and even, restore and enrich their existing forests. This is what we are lacking in Nigeria. What we have in Nigeria, the last remaining rainforest estate of Nigeria was the Cross River in the area designated as a Cross River National Park. We also have another forest estate in the Gashaka Gumti National Park of Nigeria, and that is between Taraba and Adamawa State in the northeast of Nigeria. Now, what we do have, we used to have other forest areas. For instance, the Kainji Lake National Park in Niger State of Nigeria. We also had Kamuku National Park. This national park, why I'm calling it, say we also had, and the Sambisa Forest in Chad Basin. The reason I'm saying we had is because once in this country, these national parks were under the full protection of the National Park Service of Nigeria. But in recent years, the bandits, the insurgents, and other dangerous criminal elements have come to set their enclave in these forest estates. Today, you can confess, you can also appreciate the fact that the Chad Basin National Park, including the Sambisa Forest, which was like the jewel of that national park, is now a theater of war. It is no longer protecting the forest and biodiversity. The same is happening in Kamuku. The same is happening in the Kainji Lake National Park. But it will surprise you to hear that these elements are gradually encroaching into Old Oyo National Park in Oyo and Kwara states of Nigeria. This is the threat that is befalling all the estates, forest estates that were prime conservation areas of Nigeria. So, in other words, unless more effort is tailored on this great opportunity and occasion of the World Forestry Day for Nigeria to reimagine, rethink, and re-engineer forest conservation across the country, we are losing our forests beyond expectation. We are losing, what we have been claiming, thousands of hectares are lost every other month of the year in Nigeria. Honestly, we cannot account at the current rate because we need geospatial technology to employ this technology to be able to estimate in reality the forest estate that we are losing every other day, every other week, every other month. That is the trend in Nigeria.
So one of the things I will notice is the leading cause for disruption in our forest cover is urbanization, logging. People are cutting woods for profits, and people are using the woods from the forest for fire without having to replant. So I like that we talk about that. How is urbanization affecting our forest reserves, and how is poverty? Because essentially, I remember when I was in the university, and one of the days with you, we went to the ravine that we have in Uyo, just behind the University of Uyo Town campus. And one of those days, you were mentioning to us how it's difficult for persons who are aboriginals to conserve. Yes, they used to do it. It was natural for them to conserve their forest area. But with the increasing rate of poverty, it becomes even more difficult for them because people just want to get by. So they don't mind destroying whatever just to be able to have immediate profit. So talk us through how it was done before, how our forest areas were conserved by even those we claim they didn't have formal education, and how poverty is inducing the destruction of our forest.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to say, first and foremost, that urbanization, what I will describe as ill-managed and unguided urbanization across Nigeria, has led to wanton destruction of supposed forest environments. Take, for example, a typical example I must call at this point is the recent deliberate destruction of Ogunpa Forest Reserve in the center of Ibadan city. Ogunpa Forest Reserve is a very special forest estate that was managed for over nearly 100 years from the colonial times to protect the city of Ibadan, which was celebrated as the largest city of Africa. But the government of Ogun State, in trying to develop an infrastructure, a housing estate in the city of Ibadan, went out of its way, ill-informed, ill-advised, without seeking professional, knowledge and advice, went over a period, very short period, a matter of weeks, to destroy the entire forest and leave the place bare with very serious ecological consequences that is threatening Ibadan city today. And if care is not taken, will become something of massive disasters in the very foreseeable future. God forbid. We don't pray for that. We hope the state government of Oyo will have a rethink and do everything possible to reverse that negative action against the city of Ibadan. Now, elsewhere in Nigeria, governments and industrial activities like mining and so on, many states are falling into it by just destroying estates, existing forest estates, and clearing land indiscriminately in order to do urbanization. Another typical example I will call, without fear, is the recent intention to route the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway through the only forest estate existing in Akwa Ibom State, the Stops Creek Forest Reserve. There has been a loud outcry among the people of Nigeria, well-meaning people of Akwa Ibom State, including BPC Nigeria, that the road should, as welcome as it is, a very important, well-conceived highway, it should be please rerouted to pass outside the Stops Creek Forest Reserve, because this is the only forest reserve or protected area left in Akwa Ibom State, even though itself is suffering other forms of devastation. But the highway will now put the nail on the coffin of its existence. And once that is allowed to happen, Akwa Ibom State will be destroyed. The coastal areas of Akwa Ibom will be destroyed by the Atlantic Ocean and the coastal erosion going on there. So rather than route that highway through Stops Creek Forest Reserve, the highway should be rerouted to pass far away from the forest reserve to protect the ecological integrity of the coastal areas of Akwa Ibom State for the benefit of our people. Now, coming to the question of what the people of Nigeria used to do in the past to safeguard forests and live in harmony with nature. We used to have, for example, sacred groves, sacred forests in communities. We used to have areas that were deliberately set aside for the community to harvest foods, medicinal plants, herbs, and all sorts of things. We used to have off-season for fishing in the forest. off-season for hunting, off-season for collecting snails, and even other items that serve for the betterment of the community. Today, we have lost our traditional knowledge systems that protected many sacred forests, forest groves in communities, and the people are now languishing in poverty, apart from the fact that it's impacting their health, it's impacting their, economic livelihoods. In fact, in this time where kerosene is no longer affordable, not to talk about cooking gas, majority of the teeming population of our rural people depended on forests for fuel wood, for cooking and warming and other things. But today, they cannot find wood anymore. Illegal logging in all areas. The penchant for governments to give financial targets to forestry departments to log timber and generate revenue for the government without planting, without afforestation, commensurate afforestation to restore, to replenish, and enrich this remaining forest estate has brought about all the challenges that we experience today. Absence of food, poverty, increasing health challenges, and wildlife conflict, and the like. The ecological consequences of this is what we witnessed in the changing climate that is affecting all and sundry in Nigeria and the world at large.
We thank you so much. We used to have forest guards, as it was called then. I've seen the government say they want to reintroduce forest guards and all that. Do you think having forest guards will help, to or remobilizing them the more will help to protect our forest systems?
Well, first things first. Forest guards, as currently envisaged, as promoted by the government, I do not see it as aimed at protecting forests. Rather, the focus is on protecting the people against insurgents, bandits, and criminal elements currently using the forest as their safe havens to continue attacking and causing havoc and mayhem in the society. So government set up the forest guards who are expected to enter the forest and combat the illegal occupants. This, left as it is, will not protect and preserve our forests as it were. What government should do, first and foremost, we have to ask ourselves the question, in Nigeria today, how many states of Nigeria have a functional, well-funded forestry department as it used to be in the colonial era? Then, if they have a forest department in the state, how many of the forest department can boast of forest nursery where indigenous trees, indigenous multipurpose species of trees, a viable nursery where these species are raised and afforestation is currently going on? When I was a young forestry student, we were taken to forest estate at ICOM. We used to have Forestry Research Institute of Nigeria offices across the states, and they used to have forest nurseries where afforestation using several methods, for example, the Tonja system was being practiced in various parts of Nigeria. Today, we have forest departments in almost majority of the states of Nigeria, but you cannot see a viable forest nursery where trees are generated, where trees are planted. We used to have the green belt, what they call the green belts of Africa, from Djibouti in the East African Horn of Africa, across the Sahel to Senegal, and Nigeria being a part of that Great Green Wall project. That Great Green Wall is supposed to be a forest belt. I remember as a youth corper, when I went to Katsina State, we had the European Economic Community afforestation project in Katsina State, where the green belts were being developed and planted. Today, go to Jigawa State, go to Hadeji and Guru in Yobe State, go to other parts, including Kano, Sokoto, and other places in the north of Nigeria. You will see that they've lost most of the forest. And that's why the desertification encroachment is coming rapidly. Desertification is even starting from the center of Nigeria now. Go to Nasarawa State, go to Plateau State, even to part of Benue, you will see the devastation currently going on in Nigeria. I want to assure you that Hadeji and Guru, which was a global wetland, a Ramsar site in Nigeria, today the wetland is almost drying up. The same thing with our receding Lake Chad. There is a problem. There is what I call fire on the mountain, unless this occasion will make our government and all interested, committed stakeholders in Nigeria to ring the alarm bell and rise up to the occasion to take deliberate, positive conservation steps to restore, protect, and enrich the forest in the different areas of Nigeria.
Blooming story that you've printed, Prof. But I'd like to ask now, do we have shortage of information as regards forest preservation? I'll start by saying, do we have enough academics to speak about our forest? You are a lecturer in the Faculty of Forestry at the University of Uyo. How many students will want to come to your faculty and study forestry? How many students like yourself, you studied forestry for your first degree? How many people today will want to study forestry? Do we have enough academics who are influencing policy at the policy level? So let's talk about the knowledge from the academic point of view and the policy level at the various departments of forestry in the various ministries of environments. Do we have enough persons? Because sometimes you go to the Department of Forestry and you find somebody that the administrative head of the department studied maybe physics or English. How are we having, do we have enough persons who are in that sector so that they can keep mounting the drive to protect our forest?
Thank you very much. That is a staring question. In fact, I must confess, ordinarily, you will say that we have enough academic departments in the Nigerian universities that are, professionally well positioned to handle the situation of the disappearing forest in Nigeria. Mind you, it is not only forestry and wildlife discipline that can contribute to the protection and conservation of biodiversity. We have people in the Department of Botany and Ecological Studies. We have people in the Department of Geography and Environment. We have people in biological sciences and the likes. So, at the end of the day, I want to say that we have more than enough professionals who can put hands on deck if they are, professional and academic antecedents are properly channeled by relevant governments at the local government, state, and federal level. If those people and their expertise are properly channeled by the various governments, including other stakeholders. We have international organizations, we have, multinationals, we have IOCs operating in Nigeria, and all these agencies, some of them, by virtue of their activities in the country, they are mandated to have what we call social corporate responsibility. The IOCs, for example, all have what we call environment department. Who are the people manning these environment departments? These professionals are there, but the willpower on their part, the commitment to render these services, even on the part of government, the political will to engage the professionals. Take, for instance, Biodiversity Preservation Center, with our modest experience and, array of volunteers and experts at home and abroad. We are always at the forefront, ready and willing to render these services in all parts of Nigeria. But how many people are interested, even at the government level? Are they interested in working with us? Do they recognize our contributions and services? I want to say, as it is today, we have many more such organizations. I can name them. The Nigerian Conservation Foundation, Lagos, the Primatological Society of Nigeria, the Coalition for the Conservation of Biodiversity in Nigeria, CBCN. We have many others that are operating in the country, but if they are not empowered, their activities recognized, are not collaborated with, how can they make more impact? Look at the short time I spent, 1 year only, I spent at Nasarawa State University, Kefi. Under 1 year, I led a legacy project sponsored by the university, and I planted 10,000 indigenous multipurpose tree species in Nasarawa State. And the university led by then Vice Chancellor, Professor Suleiman, they empowered me to establish a nursery where 30,000 seedlings of indigenous trees can be produced yearly. They also gave the funding to fence the estate of forest that we generated within the university environment, and even made available water to, serve the trees during the dry season. If other places can do like this, so much more will be achieved. As we are today, we have many, many states that have neglected the forest sector. The professionals working there are just armchair foresters and experts that are not able to go to work. The worst thing happening today, even the research that you spoke about, nobody is able to do research, as it were, in the forest because of the escalating levels of insecurity. That's why a lot of people are afraid and are unable to go to the forest to carry out research. So this calls for investment in geospatial technology that will help the foresters to work using remote sciences, like the use of drones, the use of satellite images, for us to be able to measure and, bring to the fore the amount of the devastation happening to our forests and what is left and where they are left. This can only be achieved using advanced technology in the geospatial, science. The sciences will help us to achieve this purpose if the government.
Thank you so much. I'd like to ask a question now, and the question is about wildlife. How does the wildlife in the forest interact with humans? Because some humans, when they hear of wildlife, they just feel wildlife should be in the forest. We don't have anything to do with wildlife. What is the relationship between humans and wildlife today as we celebrate the forest? We know that with the wildlife's forms a very critical segment of the forest. Plants,
yes,
the animals, right? But let's stay with wildlife for now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Obong. The theme for today's celebration, 2026 International Day of Forest, is forests and food. Now, talking about food, the most important component of food, our everyday life, is protein. Mr. Obong, the bulk of protein that we call animal protein for so many people in our country and elsewhere in the world comes from the wildlife. The bushmeat we eat comes from the forest, all the species that we depend upon for food. From the eggs we gather from the francolins, the bush fowls, the guinea fowls, the wild guinea fowls in the forest, to the rodents like grasscutter, porcupines that we eat, the antelopes, even people who eat primates like the monkeys, the baboons, and even there are communities that eat great apes like chimpanzees and gorillas. I want to assure you that without the forest, these species will not exist. Today, it's commonplace in Nigeria to see people eating all forms of reptiles, crocodiles, tortoises, snakes are becoming famous bushmeat in different parts of Nigeria. People are eating our snakes and even exporting them as bushmeat. Today, Nigerian bushmeat is found in Europe, in places like London and France. They find their way to these places. This adds to the, food supplies of many, communities. Now, the vegetable protein.
Right, just a minute. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll still have you. Please just stay with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, so welcome back to the program. Today is being observed globally as the International World Forestry Day. It is a day where the whole world looks at our forest and say, what can we do to protect our forest, and how is our forest impacting in our daily lives? And we've been speaking to a professor of wildlife conservation, who is a professor in the Faculty of Forestry at the University of Uyo, who's been speaking to us about green economy, understanding the vital role of forests in our daily lives. And he's really been doing a lot of explanation to tell us that our forests interact with us, so we have a relationship with our forest, and the forest brings a lot of there's a lot of synergy between the human beings and the forest. So like I said, the day is celebrated globally March 21st, given the significance of this global celebration. All right, so it is a day that gives the government, social actors opportunity for interaction with those who are in the sector, those who are in wildlife conservation, those who are into primate conservation, those who are into environmental sustainability, looking at the interaction between our forest and human beings. We know that our forest is very critical. It provides a lot of resources that we work with. He mentioned about, for instance, a lot of Nigerians, especially those in the rural centers, I've even seen those in the urban centers now. A lot of Nigerians depend on our forests to be able to power fire, to be able to run their homes, to be able to make food, get warmth and all of that. So even medicinal purpose, we know persons who go to forest to get herbs, to do worship. So the forest serves a plethora of purposes. Some persons for worship, some persons for medicinal purpose, and a lot of other purposes that we've seen our forest serve. But sadly, our forest reserve is drifting and it's receding every year, and we've mentioned a lot of factors. Professor mentioned that urbanization being one of them, urbanization where people just want to urbanize without giving preference to the forest. We've seen that in other climes, a lot of attention is being paid to our forest. A lot of attention is being paid to the forest, even when development is being done, when new estates are being built. Consideration is given to the forest area and the forest region. But if you come to Nigeria and want to ask yourself the question, do we give as much attention to our forest region in our country when we are doing development and in those kind of places? So those are the conversations that we're having, and how the forest ecosystem, gives us ability to be able to regulate our climate and regulate our system. But let's go for a short break now, and when we're back, hopefully we'll continue the conversation. Please stay with us.
Hello there. Eid Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers and sisters, and happy celebrations. Across much of the northern and central parts of the country, conditions remain stable with plenty of sunshine expected. Daytime temperatures could climb as high as 40 degrees Celsius, so do stay well hydrated and try to limit outdoor exposure during the peak period. Further south and in parts of the north-central states, we're expecting increased cloud buildup with chances of afternoon to evening rainfall. These showers are likely to affect inland cities extending to the coastal belt, including areas around Imo, Abia, Enugu, some parts of Anambra, Edo Delta, Osun, Ogun, some parts of Ondo, and along the coastline. There's also a chance of thunderstorms developing over parts of Nasarawa, Kogi, the Federal Capital Territory, some parts of Kwara and Benue State. And that is your weather outlook. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debates, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust a multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
Welcome back to the program. We are still celebrating the International Forestry Day, and it's a day where we talk about our forest and how important is the forest ecosystem to our survival. We know that the forest provides oxygen, it regulates our climate, it also preserves biodiversity and supports millions of livelihoods. There are many persons, millions of people all across the world who depend on the forest for daily food, for daily survival in their different spheres of life. And we see this again and again and again. So the forest becomes a very important, very important, for us, for Nigerians, for those in the world. And today we're talking about how important and how can we conserve our forest, the role the forest plays in our life. We've been speaking to Professor Edem Enyang. He's a professor of wildlife conservative technology at the University of Uyo, who have been joining us with this discussion as we celebrate this International Day of Forestry. As we hope to see Prof join with us again, the day is a day that is anchored around the world for celebration and also a reminder to government, to policymakers, to those in the academics of the vital role of the forest. The forest is the largest residual of the flora and the fauna, that's plants and animals, and we see that this is well needed for our life systems. Prof was just telling us about how the animals that we get from the forest provide protein, which is one of the most needed element for survival in our world. You need protein to be able to survive. As we hope that Prof joins us again so we could finish up the conversation. It's the International World Forestry Day. We have a responsibility to protect our forests. It talks about even international organizations that have a Ministry of Department of Forestry, Department of Environment. What are we doing as a people? What are we doing as Nigerians to safeguard our forests? Sadly, some of our forest covers have been taken over by insurgents and bandits, and this is not good for us at all as a people. When insurgents and bandits take over our forest covers, it really brings question as to many persons are not safe to go to the forest for camping and all of that. So Prof has joined us again as we hope to finish up the conversation this morning. It's International Day of Forestry 2026, and that is what we are celebrating as we look at green economy, understanding the vital role that our forest plays in our life. We have joining us again Professor Edem Enyang, Professor of Wildlife Resources Conservation at the University of Uyo, Faculty of Forestry, who has joined us. Thank you so much, Professor, for staying with us on the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Obong. It's the Department of Forestry and Wildlife in the Faculty of Agriculture. Yes.
Thank you for the correction, Prof. Let's talk about what is the importance of the International Day of Forestry.
This day is very important, and it's a day set aside by the global community to raise awareness of the value of conserving our forests, the value of forests, and the urgent need for all and sundry to join hands in protecting and conserving the integrity of our forests worldwide. This is why we mark this day, because as you have seen based on the discussions we've had so far, the forest is not faring well. The forest is disappearing, and as such, the safety net, survival prospect of teeming populations of people are declining, disappearing. As we talk about climate change, one of the natural solutions to climate change is intact forest ecosystem. And then even for food security, that's why the theme for this year's celebration is forests and food. That's the theme for this year. So you can see how important forests can be for our food security, for our livelihoods, for poverty reduction, and even for providing us the air that we breathe, circulating the water that we have in our ecosystem, the rain cycles, and for preventing flooding in places, as well as providing raw materials for everyday life. I always tell people the paper you write upon is made from trees. The furniture you use, the bed you sleep, most of the time, these things are made of wood. So the fuel that most people cook with, outside cooking with electricity, cooking with gas, cooking with kerosene, the majority of the people of this world cook using wood. Even in temperate countries, people use wood to warm their houses. You cannot overemphasize the value of forest. In fact, during crisis period, people used to run to forest to seek cover. Right from the 60s, when America fought with Vietnam, the Vietnamese people ran to their forests to hide. And same thing in many other countries. Today, that forest has become a safe haven for criminals. This is because the government has not done enough to safeguard the porous borders of Nigeria, to make every human being accountable. For example, we talk about national identity card. We talk about BVN. We talk about registration of our phone lines. Have we implemented this to the latter so as to enable the security agencies to keep track of every human being? What have we done? If, for example, you go to a little country like Malawi, you go to a little country like Gambia, you go to a country like Mali, very close to us, you cannot kidnap a human being and make call for ransom. You will be tracked, you will be arrested in no time. But here in Nigeria, it looks as if the criminals have overpowered the security agencies. They can easily commit their crime, even video it, and even have the guts to share it on the social media for everyone to see. Yet in the same country, the security agencies cannot track the same people and arrest them. So it brings a lot of questions to mind. Are we really willing? Do we have the political will? Do we have all the, vested interests to join the world outside, use the same method they use in Mali, for example, to enforce longer be a safe haven for criminal elements? This is the question. Otherwise, we'll be celebrating this International Day of Forests in the negative and opposite direction with what the rest of the world, the people of the rest of the world are doing, while they are celebrating forests for their intrinsic value. We are now looking at forests as a criminal hideout and safe haven for all their atrocities. This is why a lot of people are now skeptical about protecting forests. in Nigeria.
Going down the program, I'd like to ask two questions. Number one, tell us about your experiences in the forest in Nigeria and maybe one or two around the world. The experiences, I know you've spent, sometimes you've even spent months living in different forests and doing research. Tell us about some of those experiences and how the locals are welcoming for somebody who have done real live work in different forest regions across the world.
Mr. Obong, I want to confess that I've had a fair share of goodwill from many communities across Nigeria. Today, I will mention a few of them. Far back in the mid-90s, 97, 98, I spent Christmas on Afi Mountain Forest Reserve of Cross River State. Just myself and some locals, plus 2 American women, Dr. Kelly McFarland and her assistant, Emma Torres. We spent Christmas of 97 and work studying the gorilla populations on Afi Mountains. I have spent a lot of weeks on Mbe Mountain, scaling the mountain and studying the Cross River gorilla. The same thing, we have worked at the famous Obudukato Ranch, not just on the ranch, the gorilla conservation research camp on the ranch. We established it based on our work on the gorillas. And we will scale for 8 hours from the ranch, scale down to Balagete community and to Mbuli. We would, trek in the forest from Mbuli to Obonyi in Cameroon. The same thing we did from Ekonwanaku in Nigeria to Ekon Erat in Korop National Park in Cameroon, living inside the jungle. Here in northern Nigeria, I have lived for up to 1 month in Kamuku National Park of Nigeria in Brenengwari Emirate. I lived there all alone in the forest, studying the wildlife in these places. Is it the Kainji Lake National Park, Oli Camp, where I have taken more than 100 students, boys and girls, from Uyo to this forest, and we camp out there for the students to study. Even in recent times, I have had to live in Pandam Forest Reserve that has become Pandam National Park on paper. I spent up to 2 weeks inside Pandam, and also I want to tell you, I have done this in Ethiopia, but from the experience I've gathered in other countries like South Africa and a few other places in West Africa, Ghana, Togo, and the likes, I want to say that Nigeria has one of the most welcoming local communities in Africa. If I go with you to a place like Ekongonaku, the reception that you will get, you will not believe that you are in Nigeria. The similar things I experienced in Congo, in the Congo Basin. The similar things you will see in Okomu, unless you go there illegally without informing the community. Majority of the Nigerian communities, including northern Nigeria, I can assure you, the chiefs in Breningwari Emirate, they cherish my work to the extent of sending barbecued goats to me in the jungle, even sending fuel for me to fuel the Hilux I was using. Nigeria is very welcoming. And I want to tell you, whatever you think they have in Uganda, they have in Rwanda, they have in other East African countries like Tanzania, like Kenya, and the likes, we have them in Nigeria. In terms of animal, we may not have the millions of migratory animals, but we have a lot of opportunities. Like in Oli Camp, you will see bachelor herds of the antelope called the antelope population, that you will see hundreds of antelopes staring at you. You will see baboons coming to welcome you in Pandam. You will see populations of gorillas on Mbe Mountain, Afi Mountain, and in Balagete area of the cattle ranch in the escarpment with Cameroon. What will you say about Gashaka? From Gembu community, you will see a welcoming community throughout the Donga River Lake till you come to Seriti, Mutumbiu, and up to Jalingo itself. These communities are rich in their wildlife offerings, in their estates that need to be protected. Go to Farinrua in Nasarawa State. It's from that area stretching all the way to Wase Rock and the famous Sherry Hills in Plateau State. These are touristic areas, not to talk about Abuja itself, where you can see wild populations of crocodiles inside the city center of Abuja. Please, Nigeria is rich. Almost every local government of Nigeria has a biodiversity component that will be a world attraction for ecotourism if well managed and harnessed. I speak confidently that in spite of the insurgency, I still go to some of these places, just that it is more costly because I have to pay security. But all things being equal, I believe that this is a wake-up call for the relevant agencies of government, the National Park Service, the different agencies of government, for instance, NESRIA, the Regulation Enforcement Agency for the Environment. They are in Nigeria. They are almost in every state actively working to enforce the forest regulations. We should embrace their work. We should partner with them, collaborate with research institutions, and foster a congenial atmosphere, both for research, tourism, and ecotourism. Nigeria is the place to be. Our culture, our tradition, and our wildlife endowments is phenomenal enough
for
to
spending
bring
your morning this Saturday. I know how busy you can get with us, but I'd like to ask the last question before I let you go. Should we be pessimistic or optimistic about the future of our forests in Nigeria as we celebrate International Day of Forestry? What do you see, pessimism or optimism?
I see serious level of optimism. It is just for the political will on the part of our government to rise to the occasion and harness all the capacity with a view to improving, enhancing the capacity, and tailoring this endowment to positive economic growth and development for Nigeria and the generations yet unborn.
Thank you so much, Professor Edeminian, Professor of Wildlife Resources at the Faculty of Agriculture, Department of Forestry, University of York. Thank you so much for speaking to us on the morning program on Global Morning, DSTV 365. We are grateful.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. My pleasure.
All right. Okay, so let's go for a short break, and when we come back, our discussion still continue as Sadiya Yakubu comes to tell us a wonderful package that she has for us.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadiya Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust a multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
At Witchtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction. Witchtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Witchtech Cables, quality cables better than the best.
Hello there. Eid Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers and sisters and happy celebrations. Across much of the northern and central parts of the country, conditions remain stable with plenty of sunshine expected. Daytime temperatures could climb as high as 40 degrees Celsius, so do stay well hydrated and try to limit outdoor exposure during the peak period. Further south and in parts of the north-central states, we're expecting increased cloud buildup with chances of afternoon to evening rainfall. These showers are likely to affect inland cities extending to the coastal belt, including areas around Imo, Abia, Enugu, some parts of Anambra, Edo Delta, Osun, Ogun, some parts of Ondo, and along the coastline. There's also a chance of thunderstorms developing over parts of Nasarawa, Kogi, the Federal Capital Territory, some parts of Kwara and Benue State. And that is your weather outlook. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend.
Good morning once again and welcome to Global Morning on Global Television Abuja. The place where stories come alive, ideas sparked, and of course moments that matter take center stage. I am Sadia Yakubu and I'll be your host for the next few minutes. DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. You can also watch on YouTube using our Global TV NG. So on this segment of the program, we'll be talking about history of Eid celebration. Celebration of Eid, primarily Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, have deep roots in early Islamic history dating back to the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the 7th century. It is one of the most important religious celebrations in Islam, and it's observed twice a year. That is the big and small Salah, like we usually refer to Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. Both are joyful occasions centered around faith, gratitude, family, and charity. Eid al-Fitr comes at the end of Ramadan, the month of fasting. After a month of discipline and spiritual reflections, Muslims celebrate the special prayers held in mosques and open spaces early in the morning, giving charity called Zakat al-Fitr, so everyone can join the celebration, feasting with sweets, desserts, and festive meals, new or special clothes, often traditional outfits, visiting family and friends, exchanging greetings like Eid al-Mubarak, blessed Eid. So we have some package reports about how Eid celebration went here in Abuja, Imo, Benue, and then during Eid, federal government usually give holiday, 2 days holiday. So we're gonna play those reports. Let's have one from Imo.
At the Central Mosque Share Camp in Owerri, Muslim faithfuls gather in large numbers to observe the Eid al-Fitr prayers, signaling the end of a month-long fast devotion to spiritual renewal, discipline, and charity. Leading the prayers, the chief imam, Yusuf Suleiman Njoko, emphasized the need to sustain the values of Ramadan, including peace, tolerance, and obedience to Allah.
During the month, all of us fasted. Nobody is exempted. The rich, the poor, and the poor is already used to hungry. So the rich man, who just fasted, who has followed the commandment of Allah, and if the poor come to you and say, "Please help me with food, I'm hungry," he will remember and cast his mind back. Has fasted for 1 month. He knew what he went through. So that is significant.
Also speaking, the Secretary of Hausa community in Imo State, Baba Sule, called on Muslims and Nigerians at large to remain law-abiding and promote peaceful coexistence.
The message I have for the Muslim community in Imo State and Nigeria at large is to adhere to the preachings of the Ramadan, which we have just concluded within 30 days of Ramadan, which is a total reflection period, and there is a period of seeking for forgiveness from Almighty God, and it also purifies one's heart.
In the same vein, the president of Muslims in Imo State, Bashiru Monakwe, urged the faithful to uphold the lessons of sacrifice and extend love to the less privileged.
To every Muslim, my duty as their leader is to tell them to continue to live a good life, just like the Imam said. No Muslim is permitted by any injunction in the world to kill people.
Eid al-Fitr remains a significant festival in Islam, symbolizing gratitude, compassion, and renewed commitment to faith. From Central Mosque Shell Camp in Owerri, I'm Marachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
Amarachi Ibe, thank you very much for that report from Imo State. Like I stated earlier, Eid al-Fitr is Eid where Muslims come out in their number to observe 2 rak'ah prayer early in the morning. Now, people will be like, we have 2 types of Eid, so why are you saying Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Kabir? Okay, Eid al-Fitr is normally the Salah before it's the Salah we have immediately after we observe after Ramadan. All right, today Ramadan completes 30. Tomorrow is Eid al-Fitr, just like yesterday. It's the first of the month of Shawwal, so that's a day after Ramadan, Eid al-Fitr. And then the difference between Eid al-Fitr, there's a big and small Salah, like we usually call it. It's the Ramadan. It's the Ramadan. So Eid al-Adha, also known as the festival of sacrifice, honors the story of Prophet Ibrahim's devotion to God. It happens during the Hajj pilgrimage season. Key traditions include prayers similar to Eid al-Fitr, annual sacrifice like sheep, goats or cow. Some people use camel, with meat shared among family, friends, and those in need. Charity and generosity, community gathering, and meals. Across cultures, Eid celebrations can look different. Some places have street festivals, decorations, henna arts, or fireworks, but the core values remain the same: faith, gratitude, and generosity, and togetherness. So let's look at a bit of the origin of Eid. It begins in Medina. The tradition of Eid celebration began after the migration, that hijrah, of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Mecca to Medina. And when he arrived, he found that people had festivals from pre-Islamic traditions. He told them that Islam replaced those with 2 sacred celebrations. That's the Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. So these were established as days of worship, gratitude, and community. Eid al-Fitr, festival of breaking the fast, like I stated earlier. Historical and background linked to the completion of Ramadan, the month of fasting. First celebrated after the first Ramadan fast. Early traditions. From the earliest days, Muslims would perform a special congregational prayer, give charity known as Cultural foods, clothing, and greetings became diverse. So let's take a report. Let's have a report from Benue State about how it went, the prayers, how they observed their 2 rakah prayer.
Standing at the Eid prayer grounds in Makurdi, there is a sense of fulfillment as Muslims celebrate Eid Fitr, marking the end of Ramadan.
It was a gathering filled with joy, gratitude, and spiritual reflection as thousands of Muslim faithful converged early in the morning for the Eid prayers. The prayer marks the official end of Ramadan, a month in which Muslims fasted for down to sunset while engaging in prayers, charity, and acts of self-discipline. With the sighting of the new month, worshippers now transit into a period of celebration and thanksgiving. Families arrived dressed in their finest attire, exchanging greetings and embracing one another in a spirit of unity and love. For many, the Eid prayers represent more than a religious obligation. It is a moment of reflection on personal growth, discipline, and renewed faith, cultivated throughout the month of Ramadan.
This is one of the pillars of Islam, and Islam preaches peace, and that is all what it's talking about.
In his sermon, the Imam urged worshippers to remain steadfast in faith, continue in charity, and uphold peace, tolerance, and compassion beyond Ramadan.
In the Holy Quran, Allah has said, if someone has abused you, say to him, peace be upon you.
Worshippers described the occasion as deeply fulfilling, expressing gratitude to Allah for the strength to complete the fast and joy at reuniting with their family and community.
It's all about celebration and just celebrating that we were able to experience the holy month. So it's a privilege, and we also pray that we are able to see the coming Ramadan, inshallah.
As the holy month of Ramadan comes to a close, the message of peace, love, and spiritual renewal is resolute among the faithful during the celebration of Eid Fitr.
In Makurdi, I am Felicity Ndere, reporting for Global Television News.
Thank you very much, Felicity Ndere, giving us reports from Benue State how the 2 rakah prayers was observed back then in Benue State. So we sincerely appreciate it. So historical background commemorates the willingness of Prophet Ibrahim ﷺ to sacrifice his son in obedience to God. God replaced the son with ram, symbolizing mercy. Yes, this particular history is talking about the big Salah, Eid al-Adha, talking about the big Salah where we slaughter ram. That's the Eid without Ramadan fast. So early practice, Muslims perform animal sacrifice. Meat is being distributed among families, friends, the poor. Special prayers and sermons are held. Connection to Hajj. Now, this is the Salah where we go to. This is the Eid where some Muslims travel to Hajj, Mecca. All right, so it's not for this. This one is lesser Hajj, Umrah, and then the bigger Hajj. That's the next Salah coming up, I think, in a few months' time. So Eid al-Adha coincides with the annual pilgrimage, Hajj, making it a very special, significant, and globally. How its celebration spreads. As Islamic empires expanded, each tradition spread across continents in Africa, including Nigeria, and communal prayers, drumming, like we saw the report of Felicity. You saw some people, traditional people, wearing traditional attires and then hitting their drum as well, and colorful attire. In South Asia, sweets like sheri kurma and large family visits. In the Middle East, formal gatherings and public festivals. In Southeast Asia, open house traditions and community feasts. Each region blended Islam and practices with local culture while preserving the religious core. So we have key themes across the history. Despite regional differences, Eid celebrations have consistently emphasized faith, gratitude to God, charity and generosity, community and unity, then joy and renewal. Islamic clerics, scholars generally agree that Eid celebrations are legitimate, joyful acts of worship, but they often emphasize how they should be observed, so they stay within Islamic guidelines. Their views come from sources like the Quran, Hadith, and classical scholarships. Here comes a clear breakdown of what many clerics say. Eid is a religious celebration, not just cultural. Clerics widely agree that Eid al-Fitr after Ramadan and Eid al-Adha during Hajj are acts of worship ordained in Islam. They often cite the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who replaced their pre-Islamic festivals with these two Eids. So celebrating them is considered a sunnah, that is a prophetic tradition, a way of showing gratitude to Allah. So before we achieve all this, before we could gather to observe our 2 raka'ah prayer for either Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Kabir, the federal government would have to give us a break, 2 days holiday as usual. During festivities, we do have federal government, either Christmas or New Year or Eid. Federal government usually gives 2 days holiday, so we had one too. Let's take a look at Ubong Usoro's holiday report for Eid.
The federal government, through the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunjojo, declared Thursday 19th and Friday 20th of March 2026 as Salah holidays, urging Muslims and Nigerians at large to reflect on the values of sacrifice, obedience, and unity. The festival, which commemorates the willingness of Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his son in obedience to God, remains one of the most significant events in the Islamic calendar. Across Abuja, the roads are dry and scanty as many residents stay home with families sharing meals while others continue their daily routines. Lucas Sunday, who spoke to us, said he is enjoying his holiday, adding that it is a time to relax and celebrate with.
Fine, it's normal, it's going well.
Ali Gaba said he is not enjoying the holiday as things are very difficult.
I would lie, actually, some people gain holiday while some are still working.
Obieze added that the day is a normal day, while Esther Chuku said she is at work and not having any holiday.
Not really, I'm at work, so it's not really a holiday for me.
While the holiday provides an opportunity for celebration and reflection, economic realities means many Nigerians are still engaged in work and other activities. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News.
Reports. See, we need holiday at least to observe the 2 Raka'ah prayers for Eid, and then we need this holiday as well to mingle with friends and families, loved ones. So let's continue. The scholars encourage joy but not excess. Common approved practice include wearing clean or new clothes, saying takbir, that's where you hear Muslims saying Allahu Akbar, that is praising God, attending Eid prayer, visiting family and friends, giving charity, especially Zakat al-Fitr. Then clerics emphasize that happiness on Eid is part of faith, not something to suppress. Avoiding an un-Islamic practice, many clerics caution against turning Eid into something that contradicts Islamic teaching. They warn against excessive spending or showing off, mixing of prohibited activities, e.g., alcohol, tendency, and neglecting prayers, adopting practice from non-Islamic festivals in ways that conflict with Islamic values. Some conservative scholars are stricter, discouraging things like music or large mixed gathering, while others are more flexible depending on interpretation. All right, differences among scholars. Not all clerics agree on every detail. For example, some permit cultural expressions, food, clothing, harmless entertainment, as long as they are halal. All right. Others take a more cautious approach and limit celebrations to explicitly religious acts. These differences often reflect broader schools of thought in Islam jurisdiction. So community and unity are central. Clerics strongly emphasize that Eid is about strengthening family ties, supporting the poor and needy, promoting unity in Muslim community. That's why charity, you see, I keep on mentioning charity, and communal prayer are central parts of the day. The bottom line, Islamic clerics generally agree that Eid should be celebrated. Joy is worship when done properly, but celebrations should stay balanced, modest, and faithful to Islamic principles. Let's take a bit look at the report of Samuel Udi from yesterday Eid prayer as well.
Speaking after the prayers, the representative of President Bola Tinubu, Deputy Senate President Barau Jibri, while delivering the message, urged Muslims all over the world to remain with the lessons of Ramadan, which includes peace, tolerance, and generosity.
The world is full of challenges, and we are not an exception. So what we need at this period is to continue to support Mr. President and pray for our nation, because we know, for us that are working with him, that he's determined to bring prosperity to our nation.
Islamic cleric in his sermon urged adherents to sustain the value of sacrifice, discipline, and compassion learned during Ramadan. The cleric further urged Nigerians to continue to live in peace with one another and support efforts aimed at building a stronger and more united Nigeria.
All what we experienced during the Ramadan period should be implemented in the life after Ramadan, because it is the teachings of our noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Also speaking, the chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, extended facilitations to Muslim Ummah, highlighting the importance of unity and healthy living through sports. He says sport remains a powerful tool to bring in Nigerians together, promote peace, and inspire the younger generation towards a healthier and a more productive future.
Just to pray for the country, to keep, let's have more peace, more prosperity, and we pray for our leaders, President Bola Tinubu, the Vice President Kashim Shettima. May God continue to make things easy for them to be able to deliver on the mandate and keep making Nigeria better and better and better.
The Eid celebration was marked by exchange of greetings, acts of charity, and a renewed commitment to national unity. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
That's it. So today, modern Eid celebration still follows the same religious foundation established in the 7th century, but now include digital greetings and Google connections. Public holidays, like we earlier brought Ubong Usoro's report about the federal government giving a 2 days public holiday in many countries, all right? Large-scale events and charity campaigns. So let's Eid celebration in Nigeria, so we're now back home. In Nigeria, both Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha are widely celebrated, especially in the northern regions and major cities like Abuja, Kano, Niger, Kogi, Kwara, and every other state, Imo and Benue. All right, Eid prayer central of the day. The early morning prayers are held in large open grounds called Eid praying grounds. Thousands gather, often led by prominent Islamic leaders like the Sultan of Sokoto or any other chief imam. Sermons focus on unity, peace, and gratitude. So if you look at Islam in general, it's all about unity, it's all about peace, it's all about gratitude. If you look at Eid celebration itself, it's all about unity, it's all about peace, it's all about gratitude, it's all about love. So then dressing in cultural attire, people wear elegant traditional outfits, men wear agbada, known as babariga, and then women colorful dresses with hijabs or jalabia. It's common to buy new clothes specifically for Eid. Now, if you have the means to buy new clothes, why not get them? And if you don't pressure yourself. You can still use the one you have. Just wash them and iron them properly. Let them be neatly presented. You can use it then. Food and feasting. Food is a huge part of Nigerian Eid. Popular dishes like jollof rice. Oh God. Fried rice. Oh my God. Can you see this jollof rice? Can you see how it is? My goodness. See the plantain, see the chicken on top. So just wonder now, just imagine you going to greet your neighbor and Eid Mubarak, and they give you this one. My sister, what you collect? Please, if it's me, I'll collect and request for more. Then we have fried rice. Depends on the kind of rice you want to make. It's not necessarily jollof rice. We have fried rice. We have suya. Can you imagine? Look at this suya, please. Look at how tempting it is. Then we have moi moi. All right. During Eid, freshly slaughtered meat, that is during the big Eid at hand, freshly slaughtered meat is shared widely. That's the salah where you go to greet your neighbor, then dash you fresh meat. Some people call it salah meat or meat salah. Yeah, that's because we share fresh meat. Yeah, that's Sadaqah again. Doba, that is a festival, Northern Nigeria. This Doba is festival. It's a festival in the Northern Nigeria. And then I don't know for other parts, Russia. I know for Northern Nigeria, I know, yes, they don't joke with this Doba festival. Yeah. On the most secular traditions, the Doba festival is held in cities like Kano, Niger, some parts of Kwara, some parts of Kogi. It depends on your cultural background. Features horse parades by emirs, chiefs, colorful regalia, display of horsemanship, just like we are seeing on our screen now. Horsemanship and loyalty. It dates back to pre-colonial times and was integrated into its celebrations by Northern Emirates. So, charity, community, giving essentials, zakat, food. Some people share money with less privilege, visiting relatives, neighbors, and elders in the mosque. Wait a minute. When I was, while growing up, then when we come back from Eid, my mom would say, stay at home. My dad would just lock the door. He would lock the doors the following day, like today. We'll just take our bath and then hang our small bag and poof, we'll zoom off, we'll run. I'll start going to people's homes and start knocking. We are here for Eid, they would dash us 5 naira, 20 naira. Good. They'll give us gifts, they'll give us money. We'll collect and then we'll start sharing. It will get to a point where we'll sit with our friends and then each and every one of us will calculate how much we've made. Then we'll now divide it, like share it amongst ourselves, and then we'll go to the next house again and knock. Some people will give us food and we'll be like, we don't want food, this money that we want. So I don't really know if that practice is still ongoing, but it was fun. It was fun back then. So let's talk about social visits and Salah greetings. It is often called Salah in Nigeria. Children receive money, just like I said. Children receive money gifts. That is, we call it Salah money. 1 naira. Back then, 5 naira is still a big money. So if they give you 5 naira, give you 10 naira, give you 20 naira, we'll still share it. That's a big money. People move from house to house, eating and celebrating. So one thing about this very part of Eid is that no age barrier. I might decide to visit a friend of mine, and then they will give me food, and I will eat. I might decide to go and visit anybody, and they might give me money, and I will collect. But back then, we used to run because my parents would be like, sit at home, but we would want to go out and get that money. Or they will say, okay, come and go and give Mama Fati food. Before you know, we'll be struggling because that woman, that Mama Fati, usually give us money. So I don't want to miss that money for that Eid. I would have to stay there. So yeah, carry the food and go and give Mama Fati. So Salah is really, really fun. Yeah, comparing Eid traditions around the world. While the religious code stay the same, cultural expressions vary widely. Middle East That example, Saudi Arabia focus on family gathering and formal hospitality. Traditional dishes like kapsa, strong link with Hajj during Eid al-Adha. And then in South Asia, Pakistan and India, sweets are central. Chandrat, that is night before Eid, shopping traditions, applying henna, mehndi. And then Indonesia, world's largest Muslim population, known as massive homecoming travel tradition called Mudik, open house hospitality for everyone. Turkey, it is called Bayram. Younger people visit elders and kiss their hands as respect. Turkish delights and sweets are widely shared. Then Western countries, the UK, US, etc. Muslims gather in mosque or rented halls. Multicultural celebrations, blending different traditions, increasing public recognition and festivals. What makes Nigeria unique? That's one question. What makes Nigeria unique? What makes us unique? Nigeria stands out because of the Durbar Horse Parade. Yeah, like I showed you a picture earlier of men on horses. That's Durbar. We have that one. That's what makes us different. Yeah, this particular one, Durbar Horse Parades, rare globally, strong blend of Islam and indigenous traditions, highly social, street level celebration, mixed reaction, mix of ethnicity influence, Hausa, Yoruba, Fulani, etc. So I hope you're enjoying this segment. So as we wrap up today's episode of the program, I want to sincerely appreciate all of you for being part of the program, Global Morning Weekend Edition on Global Television. We hope the conversation and stories we shared inspired you and gave you something to think about. If you miss any part of the show, you can watch the full episode on YouTube using our Global TV NG. Join us again next time for more insight, more voices, more stories that matters to you. I am Sadia Yakubu on behalf of the entire production team, saying thank you for watching. Until next time, stay safe, stay focused. Bye for now. Eid Mubarak.